The cheer you hear is for a Puerto Rican flag that was unfolded in the ring. Meanwhile, Muhammad Abdullaev gets ready to enter. As you can see, at the Olympics, he beat the American star, Ricardo Williams. He beat Kelson Pinto of Brazil, who also as an amateur had defeated Miguel Cotto, and he beat Cotto. So at that moment, Emmanuel, he was one of the top amateur fighters in the world, if not the best.
Oh, yes, no doubt about it. And that's typical in the amateurs, because those guys have professional fighters over in communist countries and Cuba. And so we start preparing every 4 years young teenage kids to fight these same guys to go from one Olympic to another Olympic. But it's a different ball game now. He's over here in the professional ranks. He doesn't have that physical strength advantage that he had over there, out of political advantage.
And here's a closer look at Muhammad Abdullaev with Larry Merchant.
Muhammad Abdullaev was on his way as a professional when surprisingly a fighter named Cotto knocked him down in the 10th round. He was winning one-sided fight. He lost track of the count through the language difficulty, lost the fight, which meant he had to get on the road again. Won the gold medal in Sydney, had settled in Las Vegas, moved to Germany, but still his family is back home, including 4 children, one of whom he has never seen.
Of course, he has also had to suffer through absence from his home nation during its period of extreme political difficulties, and says that he dedicates a part of his efforts now to the lives that were lost in the uprising in Uzbekistan. And now here comes Miguel Cotto, remarkably mature young man for his age, partially because he was married and a father more than once as a teenager. Still continues to nurture that same family. Very serious young man with great dedication to the sport, or at least has shown it so far, Emmanuel.
Yeah, and I think he's a real superstar like himself. And this last fight, the only fight that he was hurt in, where a lot of people lost confidence in it, it reinforced my belief in him, because that could happen to any fighter, but the fact that he survived the round and came back the very next round and picked up where he's left off, not intimidated, not cautious, I was very impressed by that.
That's exactly the point that his uncle and trainer Evangelista Cotto made. He said, hey, everybody gets rocked from time to time. It's what you do after that that matters. And now with Larry Merchant, as the crowd celebrates his arrival, a closer look at the new star, Puerto Rican boxing, Miguel Cotto.
Pound for pound, Puerto Rico has turned out as many or more great fighters as any place. Carlos Ortiz, great lightweight, light heavyweight champion, Jose Torres, Wilfredo Gomez, Felix Trinidad. Will Cotto join that distinguished list? Perhaps the celebration we don't quite get tonight from the size of this crowd showed itself when he turned up at a street fair recently in the Bronx for a workout. 7,000 people there approximately to cheer him on. And tomorrow, 12 hours from now, if he wins, he will lead the parade, the Puerto Rican Day Parade, that is such a huge event in New York City.
He becomes the first I've seen to wear a soccer jersey into the ring. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Madison Square Garden, New York City, USA, Top Rank Incorporated is proud to present 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Junior Welterweight Championship of the World. Brought to you in association with Sportsbook.com and the King of Beers Budweiser, along with HBO Sports and Madison Square Garden. Sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission, Chairman Ron Scott Stevens, and the World Boxing Organization, President Francisco Paco Barcarcel. The 3 judges at ringside scoring this bout will be Melvina Lathan, Julie Letterman, and Steve Weisfeld. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Johnny Callis. And now, with dedication to the heroes of 9/11, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, courtesy of HBO, ladies and gentlemen, Let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue, official weight 138 3/4 pounds. This Olympic gold medalist has a professional record of 15 victories, including 12 knockouts with only 1 defeat. He's originally from Uzbekistan, now training and fighting out of Hamburg, Germany. The challenger, current WBO Intercontinental Junior welterweight champion, Mohammed Abdullaev. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white and red, official weight 138 3/4 pounds. He's a 2000 Olympian who now has a perfect professional record consisting of 23 bouts, 23 victories, including 19 knockouts, presenting the reigning, defending, undefeated WBO Junior welterweight champion of the world, damas y caballeros, de Caguas, Puerto Rico, Miguel.
Miguel, coach, let's go. Mohammed, Miguel, you received your instructions in the dressing room. I want you to protect yourself at all times, obviously, but above all, obey my commands at all times. First command is right now. I want you to touch gloves, touch them up. When the bell rings, come out fighting.
Perhaps the judges in the first fight thought Joe Casamayor was the Puerto Rican fighter here tonight. Abdullaev knows that Cotto is, and says he believes he's going to have to win by a knockout.
Well, Casamayor made it a big point to let everyone know that he trained in Puerto Rico for this fight.
Bell rings as Cotto has his back turned to Abdullaev. Abdullaev rushes across the ring as Cotto takes time to cross himself. And then Miguel lands a left hook and backs Mohammed off.
They look very much similar to what we saw in the amateurs. Both of them with the hands held high, head bent down, short punches. The only difference is Cotto is seemingly boxing a little bit more and more relaxed.
Cotto looks a little bigger to me than he did when he was 19.
I think Cotto has also benefited more from the transition to the professional style than has Abdullaev. Cotto is more measured and takes time to put more mustard on his punches.
The Olympic fight was at 139 also. Pretty much the same as what they're wearing right now.
Abdullaev with a straight right hand across the top. Crowd will be hoping to cheer Cotto into an early rhythm and get him started with that left hook to the body. That is his money punch. Same for Abdullaev. Over the top lands for Abdullaev. Cotto tries an uppercut in the middle. Precise offensive fight so far.
Both fighters are going to have to work very hard to get a good clean shot in for the most part tonight, because both guys are fighting so similar with the peekaboo style, hands held high, and most of the blows are going to be landing on the gloves and elbows.
Abdullaev has had an essentially one bad round in his professional career. But his career has developed more slowly than that of Cotto. Part of it was the move from Las Vegas and trainer Kenny Adams to Germany and trainer Fritz Sedunik. If you're wondering where you've seen Sedunik before, you've seen him with both Klitschko's, Vladimir and Vitalik. And of course, you know Fritz very well, Emmanuel.
Yeah, Fritz and I worked together on a couple of accounts with the Klitschko brothers.
So if Abdullaev moved from Kenny Adams to Fritz Sedunik, what style change might that create?
I don't foresee it much different. He fought the same way when he was with Kenny Adams. You know, when the guys had nearly 300 and some amateur fights, it's not too much change you're going to get anyway in that style. I think he was just probably more comfortable being back in Europe, maybe.
Hands up his head, Miguel.
When we go to Abdullaev's corner, Jens Halling will be interpreting the German that Fritz Sedunik uses, and then there's someone else there who reinterprets the German into Uzbeki for Abdullaev.
I think Abdullaev just discovered that he's not facing the same fighter he saw 5 years ago.
You work very good. You work very good. You have to move a little bit more. Your left hand is very good. But after that, you need your right hook.
All right, breathe deeply. Breathe again. Once again. That's it. Throw that right. When he throws it, put yours in. Come on. The right up.
CompuBox numbers for round one reflect what Emmanuel Stewart said to you about the two peekaboo defenses. Neither man landing much. Cotto 11 out of 76, 14%. Abdullaev 4 out of 40. Which one will be able to break the other man's defense down first? So far, they're banging away at each other's elbows, arms, and gloves. And now Cotto slips a jab through there. Uppercut is blocked. Right hand lands for Cotto. Left hook sneaked past Abdullaev's right hand. Abdullaev sticking his left hook to the body, now right to the body.
And these two styles can make for an exciting fight, but it also can make for a boring fight, because as exciting as it can be, it'll be like a pattern fight. The same thing going over and over and over. And no one landing really clean, effective blows.
I think it's going to be about the body punching, Emmanuel. Somebody's going to break somebody down at some point.
When you hold your hands like that, you are prepared to get hit to the body, because you know you're giving up the body in order to protect your head. So usually you can take the body punches pretty good, too. And that's what could be the most effective, is the punch up between the gloves. Whoever can find and get a good attack working between the gloves is probably going to gain an edge as the fight moves on.
We've talked in the past, Emmanuel, about how short of being well-conditioned, there's little you can do in the gym to affect the way you'll take a punch to the head or to the chin. Can you do things that will affect the way you take body punches?
No, not for you. Only boxing. You get hit in the body enough and the body just gets tough by itself. But one time, some punches, they hurt you in the body. Usually the punches you don't see. But when these two guys come in and got their hands up, they know that they got their hands covering the head, and the only place they can get hit in the body, they usually have their body muscles real tense.
And there you see Cotto's strength as he backs Abdullaev off with power. Abdullaev sticking a left upstairs, but it was the body punching of Cotto that defined that rally and moved Abdullaev all the way back to the center of the ring.
Cotto is showing his versatility. He seems very comfortable fighting off the ropes against a fighter who just marches forward like an army, never veering.
But he's got to really pace himself and not over-punch himself too much, because he's so frustrated sometimes in not being able to land a clean punch that he's trying to force an opportunity, an opening. And he can actually tire himself out of it.
Got an opening there, though, and cracked Abdullaev with the right hand. Abdullaev comes back and cracks Cotto over the top. They trade body shots. Good left hook by Abdullaev. Straight right hand by Cotto. They trade body shots again. What a fight.
But Abdullaev looks very strong, and one thing that Cotto better watch out is for that short right hand from Abdullaev.
June 18, it's an HBO Sports special. Ray Romano and Kevin James making the cut. Follow both comedians. Well, I've been given the wrong piece of copy here. Let's go with this. Glenn Johnson, Antonio Tarver, light heavyweight championship rematch next Saturday, June 18, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Be with us for that one. We'll be in Memphis. Tarver Johnson. First time around, it was a great fight. Let's see who makes an adjustment in the second fight. The Ray Romano Kevin James show is coming along too, and that's going to be good.
You have to move more. Right uppercut. I want to see your right uppercut.
Come on, give it up.
Gambia box numbers in round two. Miguel Cotto, who threw 76 punches in the first round, threw 82 in the second round. 17 out of 82 as his connect percentage rises just a little bit. Abdullaev, 10 out of 53. Now Cotto starts to get the jab going. And a couple times there he split the guard and brings the right hand over the top and whips the left hook. And Abdullaev isn't throwing much as Cotto blisters him with punches.
That's the right hand that I was telling you about that I've been concerned about, because he's barely missed it a few times, but he's getting closer. And as the fight goes on, that may be the punch that may end up winning the fight for Abdullaev.
Well, when Cotto got hurt in Puerto Rico, he got hit near the top of the head, not on the chin.
No, but this right hand right here has been the most. I watched the first round, even though Abdullaev missed it, but I could see that he's got more power in that right hand than all of the punches combined coming from Cotto and from Abdullaev's left hand.
So you're saying the hardest punch in the fight is Abdullaev's right hand over the top?
Definitely. Short, straight right hand. Very short. He gets right on top of Cotto before he shoots it.
That time he chopped the right hand after firing the left hook to the body. That time Cotto picks off the left hand and moves away.
Cotto is still hurt from that punch there.
Cotto's trying to break down Abdullaev with that left hook to the body.
But he's still vulnerable for that right hand to go right through the stomach.
Well, if he's still hurting, Emmanuel, he's short disguising it well.
Yeah, I think he's sure.
Abdullaev gets caught with a left hook. Brilliant double left hook from Cotto. Now he doubles the right hand and comes back with two jabs. Hard right hand for Abdullaev lands again. And Cotto is becoming very conscious of that right hand, and that could inhibit his left hook.
But basically, the Cotto and me to start trying to box a little bit and just get a little distance. He's fighting too much, and he's staying right near those ropes. And the way the fight is going, even though I have Cotto winning, looking down the line, it looks like to me I would favor Abdullaev, mainly because of one thing, the right hand.
Abdullaev partially blocking Cotto's right hand. Cotto keeps moving to his left.
He's making Cotto burn a lot of energy up and not really landing nothing that effective. But Cotto's best punch is the punches up between the gloves that he can land on Abdullaev, right between the Abdullaev's gloves.
Cotto wakes up and rallies down the stretch, brings much of the crowd to its feet. But Abdullaev hurt him twice with the right hand in that round.
Stretch your legs. Breathe, breathe, breathe with me. Come on. Where's the towel? Breathe deeply.
You're bluffing very good, but you have to be faster. I only see more of your right hand.
Here you can see Abdullaev shooting a short right hand, landed right on the chin, and Cotto's head is back to the ropes where he took the full impact of the blow.
CompuBox numbers on power punches in round 3. Abdullaev more accurate, 13 out of 36 to Cotto's 7 out of 37.
Okay.
3 rounds in the books of a scheduled 12. Harold, how do you have it?
Okay, Jim. 29-28. 2 rounds to 1. Miguel Cotto. Jim, I thought Miguel Cotto definitely won the first 2 rounds with the hardest shots, but Muhammad Abdullaev came in and just kept him out of ropes in that 3rd round. And Jim, watch the way Muhammad Abdullaev uses that left elbow and left forearm to keep Cotto on the ropes. In other words, Miguel tries to get off going to his right. Abdullaev won't let him off with the elbow. It's not really legal, but it shows that he's a real veteran. 2-1, Cotto.
Larry, as far as we can tell, not a single major daily newspaper in the United States sent its boxing writer here. Every sports editor who deployed a boxing writer this weekend sent him to Washington, D.C. When will they get a reality check?
If not after tonight, maybe never. But I'll just read something from the New York Post, my old newspaper. Boxing fans get a rare opportunity tonight to take their own. They stop here for this fight.
An IQ test. An IQ test for fans. What were they watching and what did they...
Do they want to see a freak show or a real fight?
Here's the real fight, and it's getting to be an outstanding one. Cotto rallied. Abdullaev comes back again. So it was supposed to be a great showcase for the rising Puerto Rican star, and it's the Uzbeki star, Abdullaev, who is applying pressure, 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 making Miguel Cotto work, backing him up.
Abdullaev is a very hard man. Comes from a rugged, tough background in a tough country, and he's just a hard guy.
You know, all of those guys coming from those communist countries, the same as Kid Diamond, Ryan Kulov, or whatever you call it, he's a very, very tough, strong, determined people.
Right hand to the body by Cotto gets the crowd's attention. Abdullaev has had several good combinations here. Cotto with an uppercut. The young superstar is being tested to the limit by a guy who's beaten him once in the amateurs. Cotto rips Abdullaev with a right cross.
One difference between the two fighters is that Abdullaev never punches when Cotto is punching, where Cotto will go with Abdullaev from time to time.
Cotto is picking up points and winning the fight, but he's still got to be very concerned about going down the stretch in the final rounds.
Breathe through your mouth. That's it. Boxing, you're going to win. And you hit him when you want to. Don't wait for him on the ropes. If you're going to...
You have to counter a little bit faster. You've been very good. But your counter have to come faster.
This is one of the few times where you see Abdullaev backing up and Cotto is pushing him to the ropes. The only thing that really holds back Abdullaev, he's the type of a guy that, as Larry said earlier, doesn't like to punch while someone else is punching. He doesn't take any chances. He waits until you quit punching before he'll punch. And therefore, it gives Cotto a chance to get points in and stay ahead. But it's still going to be very tough for him going down the stretch because Abdullaev's going to pick it up as the fight goes on.
They've fought 12 minutes here. Miguel Cotto's averaging 14 landed out of 77 thrown in every round. It's a faster pace than Abdullaev, who's averaging 8 out of 50 and trying to land harder shots. In the Olympics, Cotto switched southpaw for the last 3 rounds of their 4-round fight, 6 out of the 8 minutes. He hasn't switched southpaw yet here. It is something that he's done from time to time in his early professional career. Abdullaev hasn't thrown much here in the early part of round 5. Now he gets started as Cotto backs up against the ropes.
pressure fighter who can take a punch gives everybody trouble.
Especially a guy with a tight defense like that, where it makes you do all of the work. And, you know, and he needs to do is box his jab and don't let his jab snap and come back. Cotto needs a jab to keep his left hand halfway out. That way he can keep him at a distance and not throw so many power shots right now.
Manny Abdullaev acknowledged yesterday he thought it'd be difficult for him to get a decision here. Is he fighting expressly a knockout type fight?
I think so. He's just fighting his typical fight, Jim. That's the way he fights. He covers up. He doesn't throw a lot of punches. He's that tight little defense that he has and waits until he gets close to you and throws those short power punches.
Punches, normally sledgehammer heavy, have already lost some steam here as the result of Abdullaev's body attack. Cotto needs to keep working to Abdullaev's body with his own left hook and be sure that he's in the same ballpark.
Yes, he's got to keep boxing and be prepared in this case to try to win a decision. You need to keep decision on his mind instead of knockout tonight. That means fighting in spots, preserving himself a little bit. Because I don't think the knockout is going to be that likely.
Good left hook to the body by Abdullaev. Cotto goes downstairs with the right. Double left hook. Lands them both. Good combination by Miguel. Flashy stuff. Round-winning stuff. Bigger activity.
Moment. Left hand.
Left hand. You need your left hand more now.
Und rechts zweimal. Du musst sagen, was ich gesagt habe.
And the right.
Zweimal rechts auswärts sagen.
Два раз попробуй снизу, правый. Два раз.
Du halt den einmal fest.
No, tiene como cortadito así nada más. Sí, pero cayó la boca.
Okay. Muévete el agua al lado y sube esa mano izquierda.
Move side to side and keep your left up and attack the body when you can.
Abdullaev with a big start in the sixth. Blocked Cotto with a left hook. Punch combination by Cotto. Reestablishes himself in the round. 2 minutes to go. Grueling fight in the offing. We're only in the sixth, and already both fighters are taking a lot of punishment.
I like to see Abdullaev open it up more, because once he opens up more, he's leaving himself open a little bit for Cotto to land punches.
Makes it more of an action fight.
Yeah, right there. He got caught with a jab while he was throwing a wide left hook. Because so far, for the most part, Cotto's did all of the work. He's throwing about 4 times as many punches as Abdullaev was doing, and only landing around about probably 25%.
Miguel Cotto having to move on his feet, having to respond to pressure, being put in positions that he has not been in his early rise towards superstardom. Tremendous test for the rising prospect tonight. And he has to do it in front of an adoring crowd on the night before he's supposed to be the Grand Marshal in the Puerto Rican Day Parade. He might be using makeup to look good tomorrow.
Well, this is what, when he had a few fights back, I remember Larry was saying that these are the type of fights that's going to help develop him when he fights a tough fight. And this is a perfect example of that. You know, this is one of the most grueling fights I've saw a young fighter fight in a long time. And the fight is only halfway over. And it's going to be a really, really tough road for him to go 6 more rounds at the pace that this guy's pushing on him.
Having to move all the time because every time he stops, he gets subjected to that. June 18th, it's an HBO Sports special. Ray Romano and Kevin James making the cut. Follow both comedians as they turn serious, trying to make the Pebble Beach Pro-Am final cut. Well, maybe not all that serious. Making the cut, Saturday, June 18, 9 Eastern.
You have to put more pressure on him with your left hand. More and more pressure.
He doesn't know when you lead. He doesn't know what to do when you lead.
Six rounds in the books. We go to the second half of the fight. Unbeaten Miguel Cotto against once beaten Muhammad Abdullaev in what has turned into a brutal body puncher's test. Harold Letterman, how do you have it?
Okay, Jim, 59-55, 5 rounds to 1, Miguel Cotto. Jim, I got to tell you something. Number one, I wouldn't pay Johnny Callis, the referee, because I haven't seen one clinch in this fight yet. I mean, it's incredible. These guys are just banging on each other. Secondly, the reason that Muhammad Abdullaev isn't hitting Miguel Cotto that well is because Miguel Cotto's not standing right in front of him. He's moving, he's landing good shots, and he's moving again. And as long as he keeps moving, Abdullaev has a hard time getting a good shot on him.
Abdullaev's face is beginning to show some of the effect of all the combat here as he has a bruise above his eye, and you saw Cotto there momentarily switch to a southpaw stance. Is he going to go back to conventional? Now he is. They told you that in 3 of the 4 Olympic rounds, he switched southpaw. Let's see if he's going to do it down the stretch here. Southpaw in Sydney, it was after Abdullaev had clearly won the first round. Maybe Miguel feels like he's more in control here tonight. But it's hard to be in control when you're the one who's being pressured all the time. Good 4-punch response by Miguel Cotto there.
Cotto just did what I can recall Sugar Ray Leonard doing all the time. Get hit by a punch, a stiff punch, and instantly come back with something so that the judges and the crowd can't sit there thinking about that punch.
I think he's doing a wonderful job right now, considering everything. Boxing good. He realized he's fighting a guy that's very difficult to open up to get a clean punch. So he's just trying to do enough to get the points ahead and looking forward to winning the decision now.
We're going to learn how well conditioned he is. Yeah, we're going to see whether he can maintain all this movement down to the final bell.
It's going to be an ultimate test tonight.
Because Abdullaev is here to go 12, it would appear, and isn't going to stop pressuring.
But Abdullaev's coming in, but he's not coming in with that much fast pressure himself. He's kind of slowed down a little bit also. That's the way he should continue to box.
Very good round for Miguel Cotto.
Come on, breathe. Breathe.
Vuelve.
Again.
A tu compañera. Vamos, respira, respira, respira.
Come on, breathe, breathe.
You have to work more. Put more pressure on him. Use your left hand again, and then your right uppercut.
Keine Ruhe lassen.
Постоянно передней рукой ты должен мешать ему, не давать работать.
Go, seconds out, seconds out.
Round 8 begins with Muhammad Abdullaev overshooting a right hand. And Miguel Cotto continues to bounce and move on his feet. Cotto's better footwork and busier hands seemingly winning the fight for him. But it's a slippery slope against the relentless pressure of Muhammad Abdullaev. Emmanuel, early in the fight, you seem to think that Abdullaev was going to wear Cotto down.
Yeah,
Are you impressed with what Miguel has done?
I think Miguel is fighting very good now. He's boxing good, fighting in spots, and not necessarily going for a big knockout. He's just doing exactly what he should do to win this decision. Landing punches and moving away and changing directions back and forth.
Yeah, somewhere along the way you realize that you're in there with a guy who's not going to go. That no matter what you hit him with on this night, this guy is just not going to go down. And you've got to adjust your thinking accordingly.
I think the fight when he fought Nadir Lovemore was a very difficult fight like this, which I thought was a very good development fight. He went to the whole 10 or 12 rounds, but he had to do something similar to this. And I think without having those type of fights, he would not have been able to hold up, I don't think, at this stage the way he has.
He got hit with some straight right hands that night, too.
Yes.
Vicious left hook to the body by Cotto, as Abdullaev has cranked it up and rallied a couple times in this round, and Cotto seems cognizant of the need to do something to blunt Abdullaev's continuing pressure. Abdullaev seemingly realizing that he's behind on the scorecards and starting to build his pace again.
The movement and change of directions and stuff is causing a little problem for Abdullaev, who's very much walks on his left heels when he goes forward and is not that agile as far as changing directions.
He's also developing a big swelling above the right eye, and the right eye itself is starting to swell shut. That could help Cotto to begin targeting his left hook a little better. Cotto's face so far unmarked, except for a red welt on the forehead, and there's the combination.
There's the combination. He's fighting a very beautiful fight.
That's the difference in the two fighters. You just don't see those kinds of combinations from Abdullaev when they're out in space. Abdullaev hits Cotto right on the hip, a punch designed to slow him down, and busts him with a right hand after the referee had asked him to break. Cotto's composure remains intact.
Cotto's fighting a very good fight.
Tremendous. Real good. My right eye. He can't see through his right eye. He can't see through his right eye. Use it.
Das andere Eisen oben am Kopf.
Put the iron on his head.
Hast du Stab?
Let me see your eye.
Open his eye. Open your eye. Open your eye. Open. Komm mal auf das Auge. Okay, ist okay.
Abdullaev's lumps have lumps.
Yeah.
Elbow.
That was the elbow. And I think the elbow was no accident either. I think that was a purpose elbow.
Well, he hit him with the elbow at about the same time that he also threw a left hook onto the hip. Both were purpose punches. And you can see how much The Vaseline is now smeared onto the right eye of Abdullaev, and Abdullaev is showing a great sense of urgency, realizing now that that right eye may shut down his effort in this fight. Total through round 8, CompuBox numbers. Cotto 124 out of 604. Abdullaev 76 out of 416. So both punches thrown and punches landed show numbers that are beginning to widen for Miguel Cotto. He's asserting himself in the fight tactically and mentally.
Yeah, very good fighting. This is all of those fights he's having. They're having 4 fights a year, which is a lot for a first-class championship-type fighter. And I think that's the advantage going into this fight for him, the experience that he has and activity where he's doing things automatically now.
And Abdullaev is going to check out of the fight, or at least ask for time.
No, I think he wants to quit.
I think he wants out. His right eye is shut. He's asking the doctor to look.
No, he's quit.
You can't see out of the eye.
He's done. Miguel Cotto has a big victory, and he fought his way to it.
A great performance tonight. I was very, very impressed.
Tactical brilliance from a young fighter who showed patience, composure, and got through a rough stretch against a hard guy.
And he's not going to meet any tougher guys on the way up.
Once again, I have to give a lot of credit to Bruce Tramper, the matchmaker for Top Rankings. Did a great job in moving him along properly to be prepared for a situation like this.
Maybe the best matchmaker in the sport.
Oh, I definitely feel he is. He's the best matchmaker, to me, of all time as far as developing a fighter.
Part of the brilliance of Top Rank is the care with which they select opponents for their fighters. They thought Kid Diamond might beat Joel Casamayor, and he probably should have earlier this evening. They trusted Miguel Cotto to get the job done against Muhammad Abdullaev, and he did it. Here's a quick look at the end, and you'll see Abdullaev signaling first, it seems, to the crowd or to the referee, and then eventually to the doctor that he's finished. And once the right eye started to swell, it swelled extremely rapidly.
Yes, it did. It was very, very bad. You know, and over in those European countries, to retire, as they say, or to quit, is not a disgrace. We look at it different here. And that's why you see so many fighters from Europe that say, hey, I'm through. And it's no big thing over there, but to us, we look at it
thinking,
different.
why take the chance of fighting half blind? Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, the challenger indicates to referee Johnny Callis he can no longer continue. Referee stops the bout at 57 seconds of round number 9. The winner by TKO victory, and still WBO Junior Lightweight Champion of the World, de Caguas, Puerto Rico, Miguel Cotto.
Let's take a look at final CompuBox numbers. Miguel Cotto's advantages rose as the last few rounds went by. He winds up landing 55 more and throwing 204 more. And eventually, as we mentioned early in the fight, somebody was going to bust somebody up. Somebody was going to break somebody down. Miguel Cotto broke Muhammad Abdullaev down with his left hand, and once he saw the swelling begin on the right side of Abdullaev's face, he measured it, he attacked it, and he saw to it that he could win the fight that way. 60 out of 336 in his jabs. Abdullaev not nearly effective with the jab. Miguel will continue throughout his career to try to use his very good jab to set up his much better right cross and left hook. Larry Merchant stands by with the still unbeaten rising star of the 140-pound weight class, Miguel Cotto.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Miguel. Do you feel any different after beating Abdullaev, who beat you at the Olympics, than after winning other fights as a professional?
Trajo lo mismo, fuerte, para adelante, presentando pelea en todo momento, pero supimos movernos en determinados momentos, dio sus buenos golpes, supimos botarlo, y la pelea acabó por el ojo que tenía inflamado.
He was the same. He pressured her continuously, but we knew how to overcome those issues, but obviously his problem was the eye.
Were you surprised that he quit when he did?
Bueno, los superhéroes pues son cosas del pasado, ya no existen. Entendió que no podía seguir en el combate y lo mejor que hizo es un buen atleta, sabe cuándo decir no más.
It's part of the past. He knew when he had enough, and it was his time to go.
With the defeat of Costa Zoo, how have your plans possibly changed as you march forward?
Con la derrota de Costa Azul, ¿cómo cambian tus planes hacia el futuro?
Nunca he tenido planes, los planes siempre han sido de la empresa. Ellos pues han puesto todos los que ellos han querido en mi camino y a todos los hemos despachado.
I've never had plans. My company, my corporation, my group has put the plans, and we have always addressed the issues and marched forward.
Do you think that you need a big defining showdown against another well-recognized fighter in your division to finally get all the recognition from your fans and others?
Bueno, Aaron anteriormente estuvo hablando de la Hoya. De la Hoya ha sido un gran campeón. Me gustaría pelear con él y si él lo consigue, entiendo que va a ser un gran combate.
We've been talking about De La Hoya, and if obviously that comes to fruition, that'd be a great bout.
De La Hoya is not in your division, but you want to fight him just like everybody else does.
Él está hablando de bajar a la 147. Yo llevo tiempo contemplando subir a la 147. Entiendo que debe ser un gran combate.
He's talking of coming down to 147. I've been thinking about going up to 147. I understand it's going to be a great bout.
Thank you very much. Congratulations against Miguel.